So today I'm going to be showing you how to do something that became a hobby of mine at the beginning of COVID and like when everything shut down. And it kind of came about because I was really bored being stuck at home and I didn't have money. So what do you do when you don't have money? You online shop, obviously. Now I online shopped before COVID, but I'm just gonna use COVID as the excuse. So I was online shopping and obviously on TikTok a lot. And something big that I'm into is shoes. I really love shoes. So I was shopping for shoes a lot. And so I was shopping for shoes and I saw on TikTok all these people had these like custom painted shoes. So I decided let's look into those because they're really cool. And they're also really expensive. They're like very, very expensive. So I was like, I could do that myself because it's so easy. Sure. So I bought some shoes and I got started. So today I'm going to be showing you how to paint a pair of shoes. So we're going to first get into all the materials that you need. So obviously the first and most important one is the shoe. I recommend Air Force Ones. I feel like a lot of people use them when they paint their shoes. I have painted canvas shoes like Vans and stuff, and they work great, and it's really great that they soak up paint really well. But when you're trying to do a design and you're not careful, it will blotch, and that's not what you want. So these are really good, and I recommend them. So first you need the shoe. Then you need some acetone, or also known as nail polish remover. This is going to be used to clean your shoe. And I use the Professional Nail Polish by Onyx Professional. It's a really big bottle for pretty cheap, and it's really good. It's 100% acetone, which is what you want. And so you also need some professional leather prepare and glazer. You really only need this if you are using leather shoe. If you're using a canvas shoe, there's not really any preparing to it just because it soaks up the paint so well. So you definitely need this, and it's very important for the shoe because if you don't use it, then your paint could chip, and we don't want that. Another thing that you need is adhesion promoter. You can use glass adhesion promoter like I am. Akadelco is the brand and actually works really well, even though it's not technically made for leather. So these two work together to keep the paint to stick to the shoe, and if you don't use them, then the paint will come off. So there's no point painting your shoe then. So you also need some cotton pads, like the things that you remove your makeup with. And you also need some Q-tips. And fun fact, I didn't actually know they made these until I started painting shoes. They make pointed Q-tips, which is really great because there's some hard places, like, you know, when you get a Q-tip wet and you try to use it, it like kind of like just smushes down. So that's why these are really great because they're pointed and can get into like every crevice. And these are going to be used to to clean your shoes, and they're going to be used with the acetone. So yeah, you also need some paint, obviously. You can use this acrylic leather paint. It's expensive for this bottle, and it works great, but the 50-cent bottles of paint at Walmart with a million different color options work the same. So I actually recommend those. And then you need some paintbrushes, obviously. These are about all the sizes that I use because they're like perfect for every space that I'm painting. You also need some acrylic paint sealer. Mod Podge does work. So you could use Mod Podge, or they do sell some by the same brand, Angelus. You also need some sneaker protector. This is going to be the last thing that you use on your shoe before you wear it. So then the last thing that you need is some flat pointed. I used tweezers, and this is just going to be used for like scraping excess paint off that dries. And that's actually not the last thing you need. You also need some tape. I don't really use it, but I do recommend using it at the beginning. So this will be used to section off like the places that you don't want to get paint on. And then you also need like a tray and stuff if you need to mix colors. You need the tray to hold your colors, and yeah. So now let's get into how to paint a shoe. So I already prepped the shoe because it takes a while. So I'm just going to explain to you what I did, and then we'll get into painting. So here's my shoe. This used to be painted. That's why you can see the gray, but it's getting repainted now. And to take the paint off, use acetone and your Q-tips or a cotton pad. And then you need to use that anyways before you paint a shoe, even if it's never been painted before, because it will remove the dirt. So you wash your shoe with the acetone and a cotton pad. So then you are going to use another cotton pad and use your leather deglazer. So you're gonna put some of that on, and you have to move it in a circular motion all around the shoe, because if you don't, then it won't work. So you just do it like this in a circular motion. And I like to do 2 layers just because I want it to work really well. And then you need to let it dry for about 5 minutes. And then your next step is going to be taking the adhesion promoter and spraying it, and you need to let that dry too. So then you need to remove your laces before you do all of that. I forgot to say that, so my bad. And then you're ready to paint the shoe. So I have the paint already mixed up, and so I'm going to show you how to do it. So you're going to paint in very thin layers, and you're going to paint towards the way that the shoe creases, or else it could break off the shoe. So you're going to very thin layers of paint. You're just going to paint it like so towards the crease. So the shoe is going to crease down, so you're going to paint it like that. So once you are done painting, you're going to have a finished product of this. This is my finished product, and this would be after I painted it, and then I cleaned it up with acetone and some Q-tips just to make sure I got everything cleaned off. I then put some Mod Podge on it because I couldn't find my acrylic sealer. And then I put my sneaker protector on it, and I sprayed about 2 layers of this. And then the last thing you do is to put a crease guard in. This is very important for basically any shoe that you don't want creased, but especially for a painted shoe, because you really don't want the paint to chip. So then these are 2 of my favorites that I've painted. They're really fun, and I really like them, and I wear these a lot. So lastly, I really recommend painting shoes because it's actually very therapeutic, and I've actually made some money off of it, so that's great. And yeah, so I definitely recommend. Thank you for listening.